Hey guys, what's up? Lightboltjoe here. Today we are going to discuss the first season of 13 Reasons Why, Netflix original series based off of a best-selling novel, which I didn't read. Remember I said we'd eventually get to TV shows? Well, we're getting to TV shows. Season 2 just premiered this past Friday, the 18th. Or was it Saturday the 19th? I don't remember. So, we're not actually going to rate this season of this TV show. Remember how I've been, rating movies and said we're eventually going to get to, TV shows, and I've been rating Broadway shows that we've been reviewing, but I did a book review recently, so we didn't actually rate it because it's hard to rate that. This is the kind of thing that we're talking about. We want to let's have a discussion. Let's talk about 13 Reasons Why and how amazing of a series it actually is. I'm going to start season 2 momentarily, but let's talk about why I resisted seeing it for the longest time and then why I got into watching it within a day. The first season. So, when it first came out, last year, there's a lot of great actors in it. The only one I actually knew of off the top of my head at that moment last year was Dylan Minnette. Minnette? I think it's Minnette. He plays Clay Jensen in 13 Reasons Why. But I know him from, 2014's Alexander and the No Good, Horrible, Terrible Day, that Disney film with Steve Carell and Jennifer Garner. Hilarious. He plays Bella Thorne's boyfriend and go to prom and it's a hysterical thing. That was the first thing I ever saw Dylan in. Then he was in that open house movie last year, which was really bad on Netflix, but he's a great actor. When he cries and when he screams, you feel it. We've talked about Dylan O'Brien doing that. We've talked about Andrew Garfield doing that. We've talked about Zac Efron doing that. We've talked about Emma Stone doing that. When an actor or actress can portray certain emotions and you feel that they're doing their job for you to actually feel something, right? Dylan was also in Goosebumps, which was last year, the year before that. Pretty awesome movie. He was in Don't Breathe. He was in Let Me In. He does a lot of horror stuff now, and for him to do this dramatic role, it's really great seeing the diversity of this character, of this actor. So that was last year. That was the only thing I actually knew. That was the only person I actually knew about this, starring in this TV series. And then everyone watched it, and everyone's like, "Oh my God, you'll love it. It's great." And I was like, "Yeah, but I don't know," because of course that there's people with different opinions everywhere. How it glorifies suicide and glorifies sexual assault and all this other stuff. But upon watching it, I have to completely disagree with all of the glorification aspects about this particular TV series. Love, Simon came out March, 2 months ago. Catherine Langford is in it. She plays Hannah Baker in 13 Reasons Why. Miles, I forget his last name. Heiser something? I think it's Heiser. He plays Cal in Love, Simon. He plays Alex in 13 Reasons Why. So, upon finding out that these two actors that I'm a big fan of because of Love, Simon are actually in this series, I'm like, oh, it's going to be great because Dylan, Catherine, and Miles are in it. Awesome. So I had more interest in seeing it. So then a coworker of mine loves the show, and he's like, no, you'd really like it. And I'm quite fond of this coworker, so I was like, you know what, fine. I'll take it to heart. I'll see. I'll give it a try. So when I give a series a try, I always give it 3 episodes. If I can't get hooked by the 3rd episode, it's not worth my time. I couldn't get into Supernatural because I gave it that 3 episode rule. And then everyone's like, oh, but it gets better come the 4th season. And I'm like, no. I should not be wasting hours of my life to get to a 4th season for it to finally pick up. I should be hooked within those first 3 episodes. So certain series, certain TV shows, certain comics, certain novels, certain movies actually get me hooked within the first 30 seconds to 10 minutes. And I'm like, oh my God, where have I been all this time? This was one of those moments. I got hooked within the first 5 minutes of the very first episode of 13 Reasons Why for season 1 because of the cinematography, because of the soundtrack. Didn't get into the story yet, but the way it was filmed was very smart. When they do flashback scenes, it's all bright and happy. When they do present scenes, it's all blue and gloomy. Smart. Very smart. That little cinematography trick. Hannah narrating, but then Clay narrating. Smart. I'm normally not a big fan of narrating. We talked about how my dislike for American Psycho. I really don't like how Christian Bale was narrating that whole movie. But narrating This works. Patricia Heaton narrating in ABC's The Middle works. Certain narrations work, others don't. This is an example of it working. On a storytelling aspect, I'm watching this I was going to say film. I'm watching this TV series and then starting to learn about these actors that I've been hearing about. You know, Christian Navarro, this awesome 5'7" Puerto Rican kid, gay, knows where it's at. You know, he plays this gay character, Tony, and it's cool seeing this gay Hispanic, you know, being all badass and greaser and like keeping a promise kind of a thing and like making sure everyone's on the right path, but then questioning life himself. We see Courtney, the questioning sexual orientation Asian girl. You know, we see this diverse cast. We have, you know, these white kids who are crazy. You have, you know, these black kids, these Asian kids, these Hispanic kids. You know, you have this diverse group of people in a TV series, and they're all main characters. And that's really cool to see, that it's not your stereotypical white kid complaining about life. Even though Hannah Baker is a white girl complaining about life and going through her issues. What I found myself doing come the middle of the season, the first season, was saying, oh my god, this is absolute garbage because of Hannah's character. Why didn't she say this? Why didn't she do that? Why didn't she defend herself? Why didn't she, you know, report all of these rapes that were going on? Why didn't she, you know, do this? Why didn't she do that? Because I'm thinking on a fight or flight mechanism, right? I have that fighter mentality. So many years ago, I faced down the barrel of a gun in my face, and it was a fight or flight kind of mechanism. I've faced knives, fight or flight mechanism. I was at the scene of a car accident once, fight or flight. There I am helping these kids get out of this burning car, and all of these other people are crying on the sidelines, praying to God, when me and 3 other random people are doing something. So like, I can get on and on about that, but that's my mindset. And then I realized closer to the end of this season, I was like, oh, not everyone thinks like me. Go figure, right? We're all different. We're all different. So it's like, it's okay. You're supposed to be different. I love, you know, Brandon Finn's character of Justin, trying to figure out what to do, where he belongs, and he's homeless at the end of, you know, season 1. I'm going to start season 2 momentarily, but we'll get into my thoughts on season 2 after I watch season 2 about the trial of Hannah Baker versus the high school. Not everyone's supposed to think like you. Everyone's supposed to be different. You know, if everyone thinks the same way, then where's that sense of diversity? You have this beautiful, diverse cast. You have these heterosexuals, you have these homosexuals, you have these bisexuals, you have different ethnicities, you have all of these different mindsets in these main characters, and it works. That people are trying to figure out where they belong. They're trying to figure out what to do with these tapes. I hated Hannah's character for a brief moment because she didn't think like me. And then I realized that's the purpose of this show. We're not supposed to think the same way. We're supposed to open a dialogue. Just because somebody doesn't think like you doesn't mean you have to treat them like garbage. You can have an open conversation with someone. And that was the point. That was why Selena Gomez and her team produced this television series, and why it's been so successful is that it brings to light certain topics of conversation that people are uncomfortable talking about. Some people are uncomfortable. I can't talk. Some people are uncomfortable talking about sexuality. Some people are uncomfortable talking about sexual fluidity. Some people are uncomfortable talking about gender. Some people are uncomfortable talking about sexual assaults. Some people are uncomfortable about talking about straight up rape. Some people are uncomfortable talking about suicide. This series brought to light all of these aspects that are going on, that people pretend is fluff. And it's not fluff. If you're in an extremely depressed state, of course the concept of suicide crosses your mind. That's what happens when you're in an extremely depressed state. You think that this life means absolutely nothing, your purpose is meaningless, you're just going to go on to your afterlife, you're just going to end it all, you're going on to your next life, whatever mindset you have of that next step. But the purpose of this show is showing that you are not actually alone. Just because someone treats you a certain way doesn't mean you have to accept how they treat you. I do not agree with how Hannah Baker, how Kristen Longford's character handled this situation. That she had 13 reasons why, and then Clay recorded that 14th of Bryce's confession, right? I don't think she had to end her own life. I don't think she had to. A lot of moments throughout the TV series, the first season is, she always blew a lot of things out of proportion. But that's from my perspective. From her perspective, she was keeping it in perspective. She wasn't blowing things out of proportion as far as she's concerned. She felt that she was doing what needed to be done and that she had no other options. And it's unfortunate that people think that way, that you can lead a horse to water, but you can't force him to drink. That old stupid saying that I have ingrained in my head. That so many friends want other friends to change to fit their current needs or whatever. But that's not how this works. People have to get to their own place in their own time. And it is unfortunate that a lot of people assimilate themselves with Hannah Baker's character, thinking that they are meaningless, thinking that there's no point of living anymore. Because that's not, from my perspective, that's not how this works. From my perspective, you are on this planet, as horrible as the planet is currently, that we're destroying it, that humanity is a disgusting disease on Mother Earth. You have a purpose. If your purpose is to, just live your life and get hit by a car and then your organs wind up being donated to 16 different people, your purpose in life was to make sure that those 16 people lived. Because those 16 people need to do something. I'm just using that number as, I've used this analogy many a times. But that doesn't mean your life was meaningless. You had to get to that point of being hit by that car. So that way, maybe it was just your head was squished and everything else was fine. Your heart got to go into someone. Your liver got to go into someone. Your kidneys got to go into someone. Your lungs got to go into someone. Your pancreas. Do people transfer pancreases? I don't even know. Transplant? From my understanding, from the eclectic life that I've lived, everyone has a purpose. And it was nice seeing this show depict that everyone was trying to find their purpose. That Hannah felt that this was it, that this was the end of her purpose. Her purpose was to make these people face the realities. I'm a big proprietor for organ donation. I know that they didn't actually go into that, so we don't know what happened with Hannah's body after she killed herself. It's possible, I haven't seen season 2 yet, I don't know if they go into this, but it's possible that her organs were donated to someone else. You have to look at the silver lining in this tragedy, that it's possible that Hannah's purpose, aside from going through all of that horrible stuff, that, she got to save other lives. We leave off with the principal telling the guidance counselor that Alex actually was shot in the head or something, and he's in critical condition, so it's a matter of, did he shoot himself? Did Tyler shoot him? Let's watch season 2 and find out. Christian's character, I was going to say Christian, doing this with his boyfriend and stuff like that, but I'm used to calling actors by their actual names. I'm not used to calling actors by their character names sometimes. Christian, who plays Tony, there you go. An amazing actor. I'm very excited to see where his character development goes, because he had a lot of stuff brought to light within season 1, within those 13 episodes. It's an amazing series because it's authentic. It talks about real life problems that people want to ignore, that people want to suppress. And that's what's cool about being on Twitter all the time now, is that these teenagers and 20-somethings are screaming at the top of their lungs about reality. This is reality. We want change. We want progression. We are tired of living in the past. And it's cool seeing that. I might not agree completely on everything a teenager is screaming about on the internet, but you have to realize something. The kids are the future. So if the kids are collectively screaming by the hundreds of millions that something needs to change, that something's going to change. Because 5, 10, 15, 20 years from now, those old people in the government are not going to be there anymore. The kids are going to be there. So the kids are the ones you need to listen to. If the kids are saying that raisins are disgusting, they're going to be gone in 10 years, listen to them. Because you know damn well that those raisins are going to be gone in 10 years because the kids decided that years ago. The internet is a very powerful tool, and 13 Reasons Why got that. That the kids know what they're doing. That they're allowed to question. That they're allowed to be different. That they're allowed to be the beautiful, tattooed, bubblegum chewing freaks that they are. I got that from Empire Records. That is not a Joe original. I confess that completely. But you know, if you're scared about something, if you're questioning your sexual orientation, it's okay. You're allowed to question. If you're questioning where you fit in this world, it's okay. You're allowed to question. If you're questioning if your life has meaning, if you should just end it like Hannah did, you're allowed to question. I didn't say that's okay, but you're allowed to question. But you need to realize something. You're not alone. You're not alone. Do you want my opinion on something? Send me a message. I will gladly give you my honest, authentic opinion on anything that's going on with you. Why? Because I care. Because everyone cares. People might be assholes, and they might be douchebags, and they might be very self-centered, but everyone cares about something. And once you find a similarity to someone, and you can say, oh, I've been through this kind of situation. Let me give you my perspective. This is what happened to me. You can have an authentic conversation. 13 Reasons Why Season 1 gave us that authentic conversation. They brought to light topics that people don't want to talk about. And people are now talking about it. Do you see the change in how the kids talk on the internet after last year's release of this TV series? All the school shootings and healthcare stuff and all the old people destroying the government and everything that the kids are complaining about. Are you listening to them? Are you actually like reading what they write about? You can't just say, oh, these kids don't know anything. Read the Constitution. You can't just say that. You can't blanketly say that. These kids are doing research. Of course, there's going to be idiots in any side of anything, right? But the kids collectively are not going anywhere. The kids are the future. So if you don't buckle up and get on this train with them, you're going to be run over. There's blood everywhere. The train is not going to stop. It is barreling through all of the barricades. And you got to get on the ride, man. You got to get on the ride. Question on that train, because that station's coming up, and you don't want to be the bloody fly on the windshield when you get to the station. You want to be the passenger knowing that change is supposed to happen. Man, I'm killing it with these analogies today. Woo! Good. 13 Reasons Why, Season 1. Horribly tragic and accurate, and how everyone's allowed to be different and think a certain way. But if you take anything away from this conversation, just know you're not alone. You can talk to someone. I've been in horrible places for years, thinking that I had absolutely no one. But then things change. You question. You figure things out. You're allowed to question. You're allowed to figure things out. No one is supposed to tell you who you're supposed to be and what you're supposed to do. You are supposed to figure that out on your own time, in your own way. Just because I like this guy right now and he's not comfortable with labeling himself. He's not quite sure what his sexuality actually is. That has nothing to do with me. Just because I want something yesterday doesn't mean I'm going to get it tomorrow. I had to learn to wait. I have to learn to allow this particular guy to question, to come into his own on his own beautiful time. He's allowed to do that because I did that. No one pushed me to come to terms with my sexual orientation in any time. When I first started to date a guy, I didn't even label myself. I was like, yeah, I'm dating a guy right now. Am I gay? Am I bi? Who cares? I'm happy right now. And then eventually, I figured it out. It took me a while, but I figured it out. I'm not going to rush this guy. He is allowed to question on his own time. The beautiful, eccentric, inquisitive, lightning in a bottle mind that he is I'll always be around. So, you're allowed to question. This show is amazing. You're allowed to question. Openly question. Ask people questions. Get perspective from other people, because you're not in this alone. So let's see how season 2 is. Stay tuned. I might be posting a review in a few days, depending on how quickly I can binge it. Alright? Mucho mahalo, guys.